Medieval vowels may not be the best guide. Typos happen. But as for the consonants, at least we can be secure about that, right? Again, all our Bibles are based on an 11th century manuscript. But there's also this thing you may have heard of called the Dead Sea Scrolls. And they preserved copies of biblical books too, obviously. And here's the bummer. The versions of the biblical books in the Dead Sea Scrolls are not always the same as ours. Some differences are not so important, right? You know, they're spelled differently or a word is flipped here and there. And of course, I'm sure there are some typos. But some differences in the Dead Sea Scrolls are more substantial. So here's a quick, easy example. From the middle of Exodus, from Mount Sinai. Who went up Mount Sinai to go see God? Right? And the MT, which is the Masoretic text, that's our Leningrad and Standard Bible. It's Aaron, Nadav, Avihu, and 70 elders. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, it's Aaron, Nadav, Avihu, and Eleazar, and Itamar, and the 70 elders. Right, so this isn't a typo, right? This is 2 extra people who get to see God. Right? And some of the differences with the Dead Sea Scrolls are worse still for our purposes. In the middle of Exodus 18, for example, the Dead Sea Scrolls just toss in 10 verses out of Deuteronomy 1. So the Dead Sea Scrolls are the oldest text we have of the Hebrew Bible, from the 2nd century CE. But the Septuagint, the Greek translation, is equally old, from the 3rd century BC. Did I just say that the Dead Sea Scrolls were from the 2nd century CE? I meant BC. The Septuagint is from the 3rd century BC. And the Septuagint isn't a translation of the Bible that we know and love. Again, some differences are minor, but some are pretty huge. So the book of Jeremiah in the Septuagint in the Greek is a 1/6 shorter than it is in the Hebrew text. So, you know, I hope that you don't base like your entire faith on that 1/6 of Jeremiah. That would be problematic. Which is to say, the Septuagint wasn't translating a text of the Hebrew, was translating a text of the Hebrew Bible that was very different from the text that we have today. Again, we think of our Bibles as the Bible, right? When you pick up a Bible, you've picked up the Bible. But why? Right? Shouldn't we give more credit to the older witnesses? Shouldn't a 2nd century BC Hebrew text be more authoritative than one from the 11th century AD?